Listen, I'm partial. What's my reaction?
Yeah.
Listen, I want to say this first of all. I'm partial to Chris Paul. I can't say I know Chris Paul well, but I know him a little bit. I don't know Chris Paul to be a bad guy. I know Chris Paul off the court and do some really important things, and he's got one of the coolest NBA stories of anybody. However, can he be a tough teammate to play with? Absolutely. He is demanding. He has to have the ball. There's the famous clip of DeAndre Jordan a few years ago with the Clippers forgetting that there was a tie game and Chris jumping, trying to tell him, shoot it, shoot. Like, he can grate on people. There's no question about that. But I don't think it matters whether it's true or not what Rondo said. I think this is an incredibly important story because of that guy right there, number 23, Rajon's teammate. Chris Paul is one of LeBron James' best friends in the world. Rondo and LeBron just became teammates. And you have Rondo going at not just Chris Paul's basketball character, but his personal character. If we hired someone brand new to the staff and all of a sudden they say publicly, you know who's an awful human being? Jake Reed. Jake Reed, you don't think that would cause a rift between that person and Chris? Like, Rondo going this publicly at someone that closely associated with LeBron, that is not good for what the Lakers are trying to build. Like, I don't think this is something LeBron just brushes aside as, oh, they don't like each other as basketball players. I think he brushed aside the fight. But Rondo doubling down on it, saying this is a bad person, which is what he said. This is a guy who's a fraud. Teammates don't like him. The media builds him up to be something more than he is. Like, that does not help the Lakers and what they're trying to build. So that was my biggest takeaway from this situation.
Well, my biggest takeaway is the Lakers, regardless of the Chris Paul beef and everything, how did the Lakers become a ball team? And sometimes it takes incidents like this where Rondo, like they say they brought him there for toughness. Magic Johnson said Lance, Rondo, the other Beasley, like I brought these guys here for toughness. And sometimes if you're going to be a tough team, you're going to have examples like this. Now, I'm just going to tell you something. Inside the NBA, the reputation of Chris Paul, there's some people that feel the same way that Rondo does. So this is not the first time someone has ever said this about Chris Paul. And even I can say myself, man, there's times where I was not the best teammate. The demands I put on my teammates, some people would say they were unfair. They was what I expected from myself and what I expected, how I expect them to conduct themselves on a day-in, day-out basis. It rubbed teammates sometimes the wrong way. And as Nick, I'll tell you that I ain't got a whole bunch of ex-teammates that I'm real friendly with because I wasn't there to make friends. I was there to try to win. I was there to try to win as much as I could, and I was trying to be the best teammate that I could within those confines. So I can understand the beef. The thing is, how does it translate to the Lakers and make them a better team? This is a young team trying to find itself, and they do need some toughness, and they do need some defense. Does this translate to those two things? I'm not worried about LeBron. LeBron's going to be all right, man. LeBron grew up in a tough situation. All these little NBA things, they work themselves out. But what doesn't work out is, what if you're a bad team? What if they get off to maybe an 8-14 type start and you start to panic? All right, and then they maybe make some other moves out of panic. That's what I'm more worried about. How does this transition to make the Lakers a better ball club? I think the toughness will help them.
The other part of this interview Rondo did with ESPN.com that I totally agree with him on, and it's what we said on TV yesterday, is he basically gave the play-by-play of the spitting incident. And he said, listen, I did not spit on him. Now, it does look like some spit left his mouth and got on Chris Paul, but that is not spitting on him in the sense
I believe
that we
it's
think
very hard to spit on a person, especially with the mouthpiece, without changing the maneuvering of your mouth with the mouthpiece. Rondo had a mouthpiece in. He said he was exasperated and getting ready to take a breath. And to me, as a person, Jenna, you notice in working out, man, when you start getting to fatigue, you start getting lactic acid, your mouth starts to get dry, and your saliva begins to accumulate.
Well, but the point that Rondo makes is the point I made yesterday. Chris Paul did not react like someone who had just been spit on.
Right.
And Rondo did not act like someone who had just spit on somebody. Rondo said it. He was like, listen, if I spit on him, he is not putting a finger in my face. He's swinging on me. And if I spit on someone, I'm not just standing there with my arms down. I'm putting my hands up because I know what's coming. So I do believe Rondo in that regard. I think Chris Paul got spit on, but I think it was accidental. And that's one of the reasons why Rondo, if you spit on a guy and the league determined you did it intentionally, you get more than 3 games.
No doubt.
I think the league looks at that worse than swinging on a guy because it's such a flagrant level of disrespect.
Just quickly, this is a team that lost 3 in a row, the Lakers. Is this kind of incident that brings the team together, propels them forward, or that holds them back and now you got issues?
Well, this is the thing. Every day they get an opportunity. They got younger players playing. Lonzo Ball, they're able to develop some chemistry with LeBron. Now, when they come back, do they put Rondo right back into the lineup, given that Lonzo is playing extended minutes? I believe with Kuzman, his ability to be able to fill in for Ingram is going to pay dividends because I believe he's a better player, potentially, long-term than Ingram, and it's going to give them a chance to be able to see him for 4 games.
All right, how surprised were you? Blake Griffin, 50 points last night.
Now, he played well in the games leading up to it this season, but I was surprised. He is... Let's remind the audience who Blake Griffin is, or who he was. 5 years ago, here's the MVP voting at the end of the year. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Blake Griffin. Third in MVP voting 5 years ago. 4 years ago, in the playoffs, put up a line of 26, 13, and 6 in a multi-round playoff stint. So it wasn't just like 3 great games. It was, I think, 14 games, 13 games his team played in the postseason that year. And then the injuries really started to catch up to him. He signs this massive lifetime deal in the Clippers, and then they trade him 6 weeks later, it felt like. And last year, he tried to change his game. He went from a guy who was shooting less than 2 threes a game for his career to a guy that shot more than 5 threes a game last season, but it looked like that's all he could be. Like, okay, so your athleticism's gone, the point forward Blake is gone, and now you're just going to be a big guy that can shoot threes. This year, those injuries seem to have been fully recovered from. He is playing the best. The best version of Blake Griffin is what we want to see from Ben Simmons. The point forward, I know Ben's a point guard, but point forward, a big guy who can really run the offense and shoot the basketball and bang with big guys. And that's what you saw yesterday. When they made this trade, last year, we were talking about where does he rank in the Eastern Conference hierarchy. He wasn't able to be himself last season. If he's healthy, he is still one of the 12 best players in basketball. We just haven't seen a healthy Blake in 3.5 seasons.
And, Jenna, as you will understand, the trying to rehab through several offseason, he couldn't build up any stamina. So besides his overall athleticism, he grew his game, and he can dribble the ball. Man, he can go off the bounce. He's got a great 18, 15-foot jump shot. You know, he's dependable at the line if you foul him. He's a good rebounder, a decent defender. But, man, his overall stamina. So now you put that skill with him getting some of that athleticism back because he's not rehabbing. He's building on what he did last year, and I think that's the carryover to what we're seeing, which led to last night and him dropping 50.
What do you think about what you saw from Joel Embiid in the game last night? The antics,
time to enter the next phase of your career, Joel. Listen, you picked him for MVP. I don't think it's a ridiculous pick. I picked the Sixers to make the finals because of him, the strength of him. When you are the scrappy underdog, when it's the process, when you're a team no one's given respect to, when you're not able to play basketball for nearly 3 years because of injury, you got to do some of this other stuff to get attention, to get people to take you seriously. Now you are one of the best players in the league. Time to chill out. Like, this is not how you guys know. I hold the best players in this league to a different standard. I don't need to see the antics from Steph throwing the mouthpiece a year ago, Kevin Durant getting thrown out of games. Embiid's not on that tier, but he's trying to get there. And him saying I own real estate in Drummond's head missed me with that. Like, I'm ready for the more adult phase of Joel Embiid's career because he's that caliber of player, see?
Well, actually, owning real estate in someone's heads is an adult thing. And we're going to be totally opposite on this one. The reason why I like where Joel Embiid is because in the NBA, you know, we know that they're changing the rules and everything. They're letting guys be able to drive. They want more scoring, but they ain't changing it for the big guys. Man, they get fouled. Joel Embiid's not going to get a fair whistle, but the reason why I like this compared to someone like Steph you compared him to, I know that's not Steph. This is who Joel Embiid is. He's going to be a professional trash talker. That's why I like Draymond, because I knew Draymond in college through Coach Izzo. That's who this guy was. That's who his personality. So it wasn't as if he was acting. Now, for me, when you get into a mano-on-mano battle, guy that you might think I might be going against this guy the next 8 to 10 years. Yeah, let me get in his head. Yeah. Everyone flops on Joel Embiid, so let me use what they use against me against them. So for me, I believe it fits his personality. Now, I do like to win. I believe winning is very, very important, and that should be part of his brand. But Joel Embiid, I believe he is a legitimate trash talker, and I believe that's going to be a part of his game, just like Draymond. You might not like it, but I believe it's a natural for him. He's not working at it. When he said, man, I'm renting space up in dude's head, it'd be like, Drummond thinking about it. I mean, I believe he's thinking about it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.